you for being patient. We're going to start with the webinar now. I would like to welcome everybody for attending, for making the effort to log on. Today we're having this webinar with LAUFEN. Now, LAUFEN is a Swiss-based company and they've been in existence since 1892. And Italtile and LAUFEN has been in a supply partnership for the last 20 years. They're actually a phenomenal company to work with. You get German and Swiss. They are Swiss. And it's very nice to work with them because they work in a Swiss way, and we always mock each other when we see each other. But it's actually very pleasant to work with them because they are working like the Swiss people. Today we're going to have this webinar. Today we're going to have Sebastian Schmidt presenting the webinar to us. Sebastian is the Director for Exports and International Sales. He's also been with LAUFEN for quite a while, if I remember correctly. Sebastian, it's about 10 years. So you are slowly also becoming part of the furniture at LAUFEN. But Sebastian, welcome. Please, over to you. Let's start with the webinar and let's start presenting to everybody. Thank you very much.
Yes, Marius, many thanks for the nice words, for the introduction. Best regards also from Switzerland to South Africa. I am actually very sad that I have not been able to travel down since the last 12 months, because as you can see also here in my background, I'm working from home at the moment. We are again able to go to the offices, which is nice, but still a big part of our work is taking place at home, except the work in the factories for sure. Yes, as I said, very warm welcome from my side to South Africa. Maybe even there are some people in this webinar which I also personally met during one of my visits. I would like to give you an overview about the current ongoing 5 big mega trends, what we see in the bathroom industry, or let's say in bathroom design and architecture. For me, it's very important because, as I know, you are all highly professional in architecture or design, or let's say MAP planning, or a similar segment. I don't want to give just a company presentation. For me, it's about speaking about the industry, speaking about the trends, what we can see, and hoping that everybody can take something out of this webinar. So let's share my screen to start the presentation. I'm not 100% sure how this is normally handled in these webinars, in these CPD webinars, but I normally handle it like this, that if there are questions, you can raise your hand or you can type into the chat box. I will always have the chat box also open so that we can, and Nicole and Marius from Italtile will watch as well, so that we can directly answer questions if there are some. So let's start with a short overview about what we will talk in this today webinar. I will give a very brief introduction into LAUFEN as a company, just that you have an idea who we are, who is speaking to you, and then going to the main topic, the 5 mega trends in the construction. Yeah, it's not in the construction industry, let's say, focused on bathrooms. So LAUFEN Bathrooms is a Swiss-based company, as Marius mentioned. We are very much influenced also by, let's say, the Swiss philosophy of doing things, but I will explain you later. It's a mixture what our culture is. So between Italian design, between German accurateness in sense of production, perfectionism, and then the Swiss background of developing design and large-scale global companies. So LAUFEN is producing like around 4 million ceramic pieces every year in different, in our own production sites in Europe. We are active nearly everywhere in the world, currently in about 150 markets or countries, we have around 3,000 employees. So LAUFEN is one of the oldest actually bathroom brands which are existing, with more than 125 years, and market leader in Central Europe, like countries like Switzerland, Austria, and so on. And one of the very few global premium bathroom brands, or maybe the only one who is exclusively producing in Europe. So part of our heritage, as I said, is the Swissness, so the Swiss origin. What can you understand about Swissness, let's say? I mean, the best idea normally is to take products which are produced in Switzerland, or brands which are known, like Rolex watches or other watches, Nespresso coffee, the Swiss knife, or also the chair, the Corbusier chair designed by Le Corbusier. So and for sure also Swiss chocolate. So in our philosophy, we try to let's say stick to the value what people know about Switzerland. So accuracy, precision, also reliability, but also design, and this global approach of being not just a local brand, of having the persuasion to be driven by innovation and by wanting to grow in every extent. So giving a very, very brief summary of our history. As you have seen, we are quite old. We have been founded 1892. This is a picture from from LAUFEN. LAUFEN is not just a brand. LAUFEN is also a small city, only 2,000 inhabitants. But the headquarters is still exactly at the same place. So if I drive to work, I see the same two buildings you can see here on the picture as well. The most well-known invention from LAUFEN actually was the wall-hung toilet. So in the 60s, LAUFEN was the first company who brought a wall-hanging toilet to the market. You can see here a very nice impression from the factory at that time. The factory, the industrial designers, the technicians, sitting around on floor-standing toilets and looking at the first wall-hung toilet, which was at that time developed. And then later there were many more innovations to follow. Also, LAUFEN invented the high-pressure casting, which revolutionized the production methods of the industry, and also other things like sapphire ceramic. We will come to that later. And since 2016, we are also producing shower toilets. So speaking about the main topic, what we have, I tried to summarize, let's say, the trends, what we see in bathrooms today, in 5 different topics. So we have, we managed, I mean, we may be not covering everything, but I think most of the trends we can cover within that. Otherwise, please let me know if you see things which might have not been covered. One trend, a big trend, is urbanization. So this is a huge trend actually. At the moment, 54% of the world population are living in cities, but by 2015, the expectation is that actually 66% of all population should live in urban areas, so meaning cities or suburbs. Let's start with the first mega trend with urbanization, which is a very strong trend, and logically due to that also infects the planning and the trends, the development in bathroom industry. So one big trend what we see is, and I believe as you being experts in architecture and design, we see a huge trend to small spaces, limitation of space. So one trend, for example, micro homes, and even I mean, this is all over the world the case. It doesn't matter if you look on rather less wealthy areas in Asia or in Africa, or or if you look at at more wealthy areas. The trend goes to smaller apartments, smaller houses, because space is limited. So this is one big challenge what every designer has to face and every planner has to face. In the same way, people, we see also the trend that people want to invest more in technical rooms, like apartments, kitchens, also bathrooms and so on. So they are not just only functional rooms as they have been in the past. They are more and more rooms which are driven by design and which are where people also want to have more than just the functional items. So to give some ideas in which direction the trend goes is here very visible. So people want to have space-saving solutions, but still having this special design add-on in the product. So even if we talk about smaller wash basin solutions. In toilets, you can also save space, but I think most of you know this. You can also have compact toilets. So this is a normal one, but you can have compact toilets which are up to 6 centimeters smaller than the normal ones. So one big topic is limitation of space, but there is also limitation of time. Limitation of time, I mean, time is money is a very often used sentence everywhere in the world. But in building industry, based on our experience at least, time is real money because the employees you have to pay. Especially in bigger sites, everything is in a plan which have to follow a work step before. So to be accurate and to be in time is sometimes even more important than saving in the product some few money. So a trend what we see, especially in bathroom, to let's say be more accurate in the planning and in the execution of the planning is prefabricated bathrooms. We also call them POD, pot. I'm writing it here. It's not my nicest handwriting, but I hope you can read it. So pots are actually bathrooms which are manufactured, so you can see it here, in an external factory. And then they are fully equipped. You can see here how such a bathroom can look like. They are fully equipped with everything. So at the end, when it goes to the side, it comes like a box. And then you can just lift it up with a crane and put it into the level where you are currently working on. Then you build the walls around it here, and you connect it then more or less in a plug-and-play system with water and electricity. So this especially is getting more and more evident in let's say large-scale projects with international planning involved. So one big example is Battersea Power Station in London, where I think it was more than 2,500 rooms or apartments which have been equipped with these prefabricated bathrooms. So POT is a big trend to be more accurate and to also ensure that the installation is the same in all the rooms and the quality can be ensured. So in order to be correct, there is not only limitations, but in use of materials, we see more and more that there are no limits, actually. And people want to have integrated solutions. So there is a trend, what we see, and I'm using here also a real life example. This is the Scott, you see the Scott mountain bikes, most probably you know. The headquarter, what they did in Switzerland, was done by Ethan Brechtbühl, one of the larger architect designer offices in Switzerland. So what the requirement was, and this can be taken as an example for many buildings and bathrooms what we see nowadays developed. This here is the designer's idea. So what he wanted is an integrated solution of the top with the furniture, and if possible, even in the same finishing. So we were very lucky to be involved in this project in an early phase. So we constructed with them such a model which is including the top, which was constructed with a mineral cast material, and then also the furniture part on the downside. So this is something what we see more and more, that hotels, office buildings, and so on, they want to have this integrated solution, and they don't see the product separately. So they see it in an integrated, common way. And then, as I mentioned, also no limitation in sense of materials, meaning also no limitations in design. So this is an example from New York, Leonard Street, 56, designed by Herzog and de Meuron architects. So they wanted to have a special design of the wash basin and bathtubs matching each other, and also matching the toilet, to have a consistent look in the bathroom. So the building itself is actually very, very unique. So it looks like Lego put on top of each other. So if you have the chance once to go to New York, I really suggest to search on Google Maps 56 Leonard Street, then you will find the building there. You can also do it now on Google Maps. There are more than enough pictures. Very impressive building, very interesting. So here also, I mean, the challenge was then to come from the idea of the designer over drawings and renderings to a real product. So this means also having the right measurements in place, having the right dimensions for the holes, overflow, and so on. And this is not so easy. And there we are trying to offer such a service also to catch this trend, because we have the experience. Here's another example, the Public Hotel in New York. You can see this one here, also produced from we call it solid surface, it's a mineral cast material, from the scratch of the designer to a technical drawing, then making a prototype, and at the very end, a final product. So this is something we are engaging more, and also want to support this trend by giving more creativity options to people like you who want to create your own products, actually, and not just follow the standard catalog. If you're interested, you can check out our website. Or you can search on Google, just bespoke and LAUFEN, and then you will find it. There are also some of the projects shown, which I have shown to you now here. There are some other topics about materials and so on, and very interesting, I can even show you here. There is, if you are here on the website, there is even a configurator available. So with this configurator, you can then sign up here. Now I pushed the wrong button. And if you are signed up, you can just log in yourself. Let's see if this works. And then you can configure it actually your own wash basin for your own needs. With certain design limitations, but this is the start to a full bespoke project. So we differentiate between basic bespoke, this you can do on the website, and total bespoke, this you have to do, for example, in South Africa, in cooperation with Italtile. You have to speak with the commercial department, and then we can have a look if such a solution would make sense for your project. Another, let's say, thing about this topic is having no limitation material is the trend to slimness. So I think you have recognized, maybe also in very, very, let's say, modern showrooms or in international magazines of bathrooms, the trend goes to having very slim rimmed products, bathroom products in your bathroom. I mean, this trend is no more than logical. It comes from a trend which we see in phones, for example, which we see also in cars, slim car minimalism, which we see in kitchens, which we see in furniture. So the trend goes to slimness. This is a nice thing, and we wanted to, as LAUFEN, we wanted to be part of this trend, and because of that, this guy here, Dr. Werner Fischer, actually a professor in sanitary ware, he developed 5 years ago this material. Here you see him very proud carrying 2 wash basins. So the difference is with Sapphire ceramic, to be 100% correct, also other producers have slim wash basins meanwhile on the market, but the core development, so LAUFEN was the first one who brought it to the market. So speaking in general, The advantage is you can work out basins with one wall instead of two walls. And if you then do the, let's say, the testing, I mean, we did the laboratory tests with German institutes. This is from the German Ceramic Institute. You can see the material, let's say this is normal ceramics versus the slim ceramic or the sapphire ceramic, how we call it. So impact energy, this means if you drop something on it, measured in Newton meters, is exactly the same. So because of that, there is no higher risk of damaging with dropping items as a slim ceramic wash basin against a normal one. Also, the weight load, if a basin is mounted to the wall, is much, much higher, so it's up to 600 kilo compared to the norm, to the European norm, which is normally required, which is 150. And the bending strength, so meaning if you take it like this here and you want to bend it, sapphire ceramic or slim ceramic is more resistant than normal ceramics. So it's more than double, and because of that, one single wall is used instead of two. Good. These were some information about trends which we see in materials and so on. Besides that, there are also strong trends what we see in consumer expectations. So consumer expectations, we mainly differentiate in two things. Actually, there's a third thing, but it's not mentioned here in this presentation. So let's talk about three things. One thing is hygiene. Hygiene very much influenced by the latest things which were going on under COVID, logically. Then accessibility very much driven by governmental institution, especially accessibility for handicapped people like wheelchair drivers and so on. And then logically also designs, but I have not listed it here because I have spoken about it already before. So one trend or one product which is let's say combining these two trends, what we see, so accessibility and hygiene, are mineral cast shower trays, as you can see here. So accessibility in a way that mineral cast shower trays can be mounted flush or very thin surface mounted or semi-recessed. So if they are mounted flush, you can see here and here, you have easy accessible. You can even drive in with a wheelchair if this is required, which is normally not the case, but it's very easy for people to step in. And then covering the trend of hygiene is very much due to the following. First of all, these shower trays have the highest possible anti-slip rate. So anti-slip rate C based on the DIN norm, which is normally required in apartments and hotels. So compared to other materials like steel, where you need to have this, you for sure know it, this very ugly looking anti-slip stripes, Marbon or solid surface shower trays does not need this because their surface, it's not so nicely visible here, but their surface is having this slightly stony look here. So it's a rough surface, but which is still easy to clean because it's one material. But this means that it's having this anti-slip effect. And then the second thing is the trend was so far always to go with tiles. So tiles, everywhere tiles in the bathroom. But what we see, especially now in Southern Europe countries like Spain, Italy, and so on, they are using much more such kind of shower trays, so mineral cast made shower trays, because what has been seen is that the tiling in a shower has to be 100% perfect, in order that the tiling and the installation is also durable, so that you don't have leakage, that you don't have issues with joints between the tiles. And depending on the capability of the tiler, and also, let's say, I mean, not all countries are in the same way already developed, you can have big issues. Another thing is also the steepness. I mean, if you have a tray, you can ensure that the water smoothly runs down to the overflow. But with a tiled floor, this is more tricky to do. So you need an experienced and very good tile company to do that. And with shower trays, you don't have this issue. But so far, you always had other issues with shower trays, like anti-slip strips, which you have needed, or they are super expensive, and so on and so on. And the big advantage is Marbon shower trays are, all in all, if you make the full cost calculation, including the time saving in installation, are not more expensive and are less affected by leakage and are easier to clean and more long lasting. So this is one trend, what we see overall in the industry. Then another trend, and I don't want to speak too much about it, but I think I can give you some interesting insights about hygiene, are rimless toilets. I mean, rimless toilets, I know from my experience, are very well established in South Africa. So what this means actually, a normal toilet here, if you cut it, is having rims on the side like here. And the rimless here comes the initially idea with no rim. But you can see here there are different types of toilets. Some have a L-shaped rim still, or like a U-shape, or a very big surface in the back. So people call quite a lot of things rimless. So it's not so very clear what is really seen on the rimless toilet. But the advantages are clear. So the advantages are very clear. I mean, there is no space in a proper rimless toilet for bacteria to hide because there is no rim anymore here. And it's very easy to clean. So it's not only about labor costs. I know labor costs are not so high in South Africa for cleaning, but it's also about giving confidence to the user, because the end user sees on one view that the toilet is clean and there are no hidden spaces. And meanwhile, most of the rimless toilets are that much optimized that even the flush results are better than the old rim toilets. So what is important if you select for your project a rimless toilet? First of all, you have to make sure that there is no oversplashing. So because there is no rim like this, water can drop over more easily. The other thing is the flush needs to be as powerful as in a normal toilet, and the bowl needs to be fully flushed out. So I mean all the areas nearly up to the top needs to be flushed out in order to have 100% hygiene in flushing. I can just, I don't know exactly all the technologies what the other brands are using. Because of that, I will shortly describe how we are doing it in LAUFEN to ensure this. So we have a flush system which works with 3 holes, to simplify it a little bit. The hole on one side, in this example at the left side, is smaller than the hole on the right side. So the flush which comes out here is stronger and goes more around the toilet bowl. Here you come with a smaller, less trench flush. So in this way, the water stream, this stream here, goes under this stream. Otherwise, if both holes would be the same, the water would crush into each other here in the middle and it will splash over. And then you have in front here a part which is covering the front part. So there is quite a lot of, this sounds simple, yes, but there is quite a lot of technology behind to have this 100% accurate setup. And what is very important, be careful if you're using, if you have, for example, a very much budget-driven focus. I suggest not to use rimless toilets because, let's say, cheaper producers or non-brand toilets or home brand toilets often do not have enough done against oversplashing, and then you will face problems. For, let's say, European producers or branded toilets, normally you should be okay. There should be no issue. But still, the European norm does not guarantee that there is no oversplashing, because in their let's say, naming of the norms, it's just written that there should be no oversplashing, but they do not give an exact measurement. So they do not measure how many drops and so on would oversplash. However, in our case, we have run a lot of consumer tests, especially when we introduced this technology to Switzerland and Germany and so on, automatically these products get tested by consumer organizations, and you can be sure a producer could not remain in the European markets by having oversplashing issues. So you can be 100% sure about this thing. Then another topic is actually the glazing. Glazing is an important thing because it gives the full perfect hygiene look to the ceramic product. So, for example, here to look at this graphic, and this gives you an idea how this works. So the non-glazed ceramic is having, if you zoom in, a surface like this, so about 4,000 nanomillimeters waves. If you then put the glazing, you have around 12 nanomillimeters glaze. And if you put the second glazing, we call it LCC in the case of LAUFEN, then you have only 4 nanomillimeters waves, and this is more or less invisible. So this means if you have a double glazed product, then the water runs down more smoothly. So it's like in a shower tray in a glass where you don't have the water drops on it if it's specially treated. And also there is no place for bacteria to grow and to stick. So this is very important. And then another thing, what you really have to ensure by selecting a bathroom product, make sure that the bathroom product is fully glazed. So if there is still a rim, make sure that it's glazed under the rim, and make sure that also the siphon is glazed, and in the wash basin the overflow, because otherwise it can look like this after some years. And if the glazing is not appropriate, it can happen that the water comes into the material, and then the material inside in the body extends, and then the surface, the glaze, will slightly crack because of the tension. And by cleaning the surface, the end user will put dirt into these small cracks, and then they will appear on the product as hairline cracks. So this is what you know maybe as hairline cracks. So because of that, the glazing is extremely important. A wash basin does not need to be fully glazed here, for example, under the wash basin, but it needs to be glazed everywhere when it can come in touch with water. For that reason, for example, we also are glazing the overflow. So even hidden parts like the siphon in the toilet here and the overflow in the wash basin, we are glazing. This is a very, very important feature what we give to the people in sense of sustainability, long-term living circle and hygiene. Good, then losing some words also about urinals. There consumers have expectations about cleaning less. So more and more also rimless solutions are coming up in urinals. And what is important, based on the European norm, only 25% of the urine, or 20 degrees, sorry, from this angle has to be fully flushed. So we are trying to have an alternative solution which ensures a full flush bowl. So at the end, I suggest to look out for urinals which don't have the flush point here, instead of having a flush distributor here in the ceramic top, in order to make sure that the whole bowl is flushed out. Because urinals are exactly the places where you can have bacteria and where you have a fast exchange of people. Also for the durability, it's good to have an exchangeable siphon, which you can exchange from the top, instead of an integrated siphon where you have to take the urinal from the wall if something is blocked into the siphon. Then another thing, another trend what we see, as we said, the trend goes to minimalistic and to clean surfaces. So there are two possibilities of how to run electronic urinal. So one is having an integrated control inside of the body of the urinal. So then you don't have a radar plate here. The other option is to have an external control. This can be in a very simplistic solution like this here on top, so push button or radar, or it can be like here, concealed, but still with a radar box. We see more and more needs and requests having this integrated solution, because the advantage is quite obviously, first of all, you can maintain it here from below by opening this plate. Then you don't need to have a system in the backside of the wall. And the other thing is also about overflowing. So if something would block here the siphon. So you have to understand, this one goes with the radar here. So if somebody is passing by here, a flush will be released. Here there is a detector here which detects if water or urine is coming through. And as soon as urine is coming through after a time you can define, then the flush is released. And in this way, you can make sure that there are only flushes when they are really needed. So not just when people are passing by. And you can even you can change the mode, the modus operandi. You can change to stadium mode, for example. Then in a certain time frame is flushed, and not always by water detection. So in order to have water savings. But I will come to that later. There was a question, many thanks. How would it be affected, the recycled water or water harvesting? I will come to that. Is a very important point. I will come in another chapter to that, and we'll speak about some words about this. We'll come to that later. So meaning here, you can have ghost flush by people walking around here, and then flushes are done. And the other thing is, if something is blocking here, the siphon, no urine will come through anymore. So this means also that the sensor here will not release any additional water flush. But here, with the radar, the water will keep on flushing because they cannot understand if something is blocking the siphon. So due to these three reasons, so maintenance friendly, because you can maintenance from below, no ghost flushes, and the third reason, no risk for overflow. We see more and more that people are going to integrated urinal solutions instead of external control units, neither if they are concealed or exposed. Good, and then the last trend in consumer expectation we see are in colors. So colors are trendy. That's quite funny because if you look back, let's say 5 years, 7 years, people would only go for white, for clean. But if you would go back 30 or 40 days, you have seen red toilets, red wash basins, or yellow or sand looking, so very strange colors. But the interesting thing is these colors are coming back in a more sophisticated way now, but they are coming back step by step. So here you can see some examples with decors on it, and also some examples with colored wash basin or colored furniture in the bathroom. Also, you see combinations of materials like plastic and furniture and ceramics. So the combinations are getting wilder and more interesting for the use. Especially, let's say, very decent colors like gray, black, and matte colors, also matte white, are getting trendy. And in faucets is a huge trend worldwide to go for this colored PVD top layers. You have to be very careful what kind of faucet you select, because there is, especially at this moment, a lot of, let's say, cheaper coated faucets on the market, and after 2-3 years they will lose their color. So it's really important that they have several layers. So they have the PVD top layer, which is in the coating. Then they have under the chrome and the nickel coating, and then also a brass surface. So this, I highly suggest you to ensure that the faucet you would select for your project would include this. Yes, here are some more questions. If operated with mains, what is the power? What is used? Actually, you can use a normal electricity connection. So you can use, if you build a house, you just ensure that there is a normal plug where you can plug in the urinal, or you make sure that the electrician lays all the electricity connection there. So there is no special electricity connection needed. And then the other question is if we can confirm the height of the podiums. This I do not get exactly. Maybe you can specify more in detail. That would be great. Thanks. So coming back to the next chapter, which is smart bathrooms. Smart is a very trendy, let's say, word used at this time. I mean, everything in the house has to be smart at the very end. You want to have smart windows, you want to have smart heating, this and that. The problem with smart is always that it's also a little bit costly. However, I want to have a look, what are the trends, what you see in bathrooms, about smart bathrooms. So what we see in bathrooms very much are smart or intelligent toilets, so also called shower toilets. So the toilets have then a douche spray that you can clean yourself with water. I could have put this product in more or less every category I have now mentioned. I decided to put it here because it's very much about technology. Because often these toilets you can then guide via app or via a remote control. Actually, the very first shower toilet was developed in the 60s in Switzerland, was called the Closomat. And then it went really big. Actually, it didn't went really big in Switzerland at that time. So it was more a niche product. But in the 80s, then the first bidet seat was developed in Japan. And since then, these shower toilets developed rapidly in Japan, and then later on in the 90s and 2000s also in China. So meanwhile, China and Japan, most of the toilet salts are shower toilets. I mean, you get them in all the price levels. Meanwhile, also just operated with water pressure or with manual bidet seats and so on. So you have all kinds of styles. In Europe and let's say also in Africa, we see now a trend for wall-hung shower toilets, which are operated electronically. And there are two types of toilets. So mainly the Asian type, which looks like this and sometimes have very strange, let's say, remote controls where you have buttons red and some buttons here, like it looks like in an airplane where you can take if you want to release the seat if the airplane was crushed, and so people which are not traditional in countries which are not traditional shower toilets use, they are a little bit scared of solutions like this. Because of that, we see more and more success in shower toilets which look more like a normal wall-hung toilet. So people are not afraid of using it. So remote controls, this is one of ours. We have two models, Riva and Navia. Remote controls are often made like the remote controlling cars for navigation systems, so like BMW. So one rotation button system. So this gives the people an easy access to the shower toilets and the easy usability. And beside of that, we as LAUFEN are convinced that hygiene should be higher rated than technology. So because of that, we developed in 2016 also the first, this is the Riva shower toilet, and we have in the market in South Africa the Navia shower toilet, which is a very similar model, the latest one we have, which is a full ceramic shower toilet. So meaning beside the seat, there is no plastic part. So here everything is ceramic, and because of that, it's 100% hygiene. Then another trend, what we see are also sensoric products. So sensoric products you find a lot in faucets, especially in public rooms, but more and more it will also come in private room, because they are not only water saving, because you can define exactly how much water they give when somebody wants to try to wash their hand. You have also, they are touchless, and this is a big advantage, especially in these times. Yes, and I mean, it could go even further. The company Veolia, actually, this is one of the biggest international players in managing waste and water and energy things. So they are developing energy and waste management systems, Veolia. They are saying in their Image 2050 report that taps, they assume that taps will be equipped in future with sensor cleaners that will automatically scan your hands during your washing process, and the water will stop once the sensor detected that all dirt has been removed. So This is maybe a little bit more far away. I mean, it's also their 2050 paper, but this is in the way how it can go. I mean, also nowadays we have intelligent toilet flush system, where here you have a sensoric button and you can just wave your hands over it. If you wave once, then it's, I think once, yes, then it's a small flush, and twice, then it's a full flush. So things like this are more and more coming up. Sensor taps, sensor products are the huge trend of the time at this moment. And then the other thing, what we see in smart bathroom is the connected bathroom. So this means the target is to connect at the very end all products which you find in the bathroom, and to control them with an app. And this can go very far, actually. I mean, you have electronic actuator plates already existing for toilets, infrared mixers we have talked about, also for showers and urinals. You have solutions. But also an interesting thing is, which we expect to be more important in future, are smart mirrors. So mirrors where you come in, stand in front of the mirror, like Mission Impossible, for example. And then you have the weather, you have the latest news, maybe you have your emails. So this kind of things that you have in front of you, directly everything what is important in the first minutes of the day. So this is something we are expecting to come up in the future as well. And if we speak about connected bathroom, so Internet of Things, there are quite a lot of technical possibility. I mean, for example, you could create a technical dashboard. And with this technical dashboard, the maintenance person could be then connect to all devices in the bathroom, and then can see in a diagram here, for example, what the water usage is of the individual product and how much downtime you have and how intensive the usage is. So out of this big data, you then can gain a lot of information, and you can run a lot of analysis. So you can say, okay, maybe we made the bathroom too big, or we make it we make it too small. Thanks for this comment, Dimitar Dobrev. A big product coming soon to a bathroom. Yes, that's true. I mean, connected with Internet of Things, you also have the topic of privacy, which is maybe in bathroom even more important than in all other places beside the bedroom in your house. But I have actually a friend who is now doing his own house, and he's looking very much into smart homes. And there are solutions where you have your own kind of cloud, so that you don't, or cloud is the wrong word. He is having all the data collection locally, that it's not in a cloud. But this was especially a topic for me. So these are directions in where it will go. I mean, it always depends on which kind of building you have and what the budget of the building is, and so on, for sure. Other things maybe which are more realistic are then also that you can control everything with with an iPhone and the app. And this is not so far away, actually. Most of the urinals and electronic faucets have this already. So then you can hear again water usage, but you can also get alarms if a toilet is not running, if water is not coming out, or if water doesn't stop to come out. And sometimes this kind of investment can save a lot of money because it can prevent damages. Yes, and also if you need spare parts, so you can access the product, and you can then see what kind of spare parts can be ordered. What is already quite well known and in many urinals possible, that you connect with a Bluetooth module to the urinal, and then you can define the timeline of how or the water usage of each flush, or if you want to change to stadium mode. So this means normally a urinal would flush after each usage, and in stadium mode the urinal would flush, for example, 4 times per hour, because people will I mean, after COVID, yes, not now. But people will stand behind each other, and then there will be a constant usage in the urinal. So there is no need of having a constant flush in order to save water. These kind of things are already there to make. Good. Then another topic is climate change. Climate change. I know it's a very, very huge topic together with water safety in South Africa. I mean, you had the issues, I don't know how long it was ago in Cape Town, where and in other cities where there was the danger of running out of water. So and this was then also connected, or the discussion was going on about climate change. So it's a very much ongoing topic. From our point of view, the climate change as a producer of products for the bathroom, or for, let's say, generally for houses and construction, we see three main points where you need to focus. So first of all, you need to focus as much as possible on a zero waste policy in your production sites. For ceramic production, this is quite easy because you can reuse the broken material. So a ceramic production, a modern one, is normally a zero waste production. Then the second point is energy efficiency. I mean, in production where you need to fire products like ceramics, energy is a huge topic. And in our factories, for example, we are reusing the energy of the kiln to heat up the buildings so that no energy is lost. But this is a big topic in production. And then the third one is product innovation and material innovation. So for example, like the slim wash basins, which need much less material than the double wall wash basin, and things like this. But the whole approach on sustainability, you can divide in 5 segments. So one is the production, and there I just mentioned what the defining factors are. Then logistics and installation, for sure. Usage, so meaning how long you can use it, how much water and energy the product needs. End of service life, yeah, okay, the second point goes more into that, so the life cycle of the product. And then reutilization of the product. So can you reuse the product? Can you give it back into the production process, or do you have to throw it away? And another topic, if we talk about climate change, are the usage of grey water. So let's tackle the issue from the beginning. So if we look at this map here, this is a map from the World Research Institute, shows the widespread of dead zones around the globe. So dead zones are zones here where you have this very dirty water with algae and so on. Here you can see it as well, or here fish are dying and the sea life is dying. So this is normally, this normally comes from pathogens and nitrogens which are in the toilet water. So because this is part of the urine and then goes into the sewage system and is impossible to take out of the sewage system, even if you clean it. So we have investigated, and I will not talk too long about this, in how to solve this problem, and we theoretically would have a solution in place. This is a toilet which can separate urine from wastewater. So you can see this is the toilet. So here is this urine trap, and when you sit on it and you pee then on this area, and then the urine flows down here, and because of the curve it goes in a separate channel instead of the flush water, which cannot enter here because of the speed, and let's say the heavy duty you have to do during your business will also not fall in here. So this means you can separate the urine from the grey water, and then in this way you can much more easy clean the grey water and can use it again. Sorry, there was another question. Can we control the flush by setting it accordingly to your needs, or is it done electronically? I assume this is about urinals. Yes, you can do this either via Bluetooth app, if the urinal has a Bluetooth connection, or if there is no Bluetooth connection, you have a magnetic field under the ceramic. So if this is the ceramic wall, you have a magnetic field here, and then you can come with a magnetic thing here. It's like, yeah, it's like a magnetic stick, and depending on how long you keep it, it makes a sound. So it makes beep, or it makes beep beep, and so on. And in the mounting guide, you can see how you can then define the flush. So you can define if there is a 1 liter flush or a longer flush, or in which mode you are, modus operandi you are, in stadium mode or in normal mode. So in this way you can guide it. Yes, coming back again to the grey water usage. So this is at the moment not in many houses the reality, but if you can separate the urine, which is coming down in the yellow pipes, you could use the urine as fertilizer then also later on, and the grey water you could reuse again and could easily clean. The same system also is an idea for showers. So, for example, this shower model, which was brought as a concept to the market from a young designer in 2014. I'm not sure if it's really in selling, is the idea that the energy of the heated water can heat up the supply water, so the fresh water, that you don't need to use the full energy to heat up the water. So this is an energy gaining back from the hot outgoing water and to the incoming water. So interesting project to save energy. And another one is here called Orbital System. It's a prototype patented by I think a Swedish startup, is it? So you can save up to 90% of the water. So the issue is that a conventional shower, you have the water and then it disappears. But in a closed loop, the water could be reused again as shower water. So this is the idea. So it works like this: the used water is collected in the tray and then instantly purified and returned back to the shower head to reuse in the water. So this is the system. Here you would then purify again. So here water collection. It goes up again to be purified, and then you can use it again to shower. So this is the concept which was developed. So coming to the last point, water safety, huge topic, especially in South Africa. I'm very much aware. Water safety, water saving. If we look at the world map of water stress, so water stress, this means in these places, water limitation or the absence of water is a huge topic. You can see there are also many places in South Africa, but there are quite a lot of places where this is the case. I mean, the Sahara here is not marked because there is nearly nobody living, and also in big parts of Australia. Yes, but giving some facts. So the Global Risk Report from 2019 from the World Economic Forum says that the biggest risk which the world is facing in general, at rank number 4, is the water issue. So it is very clear that this is one of the biggest risks the world is carrying. And according to the World Bank Group, the global demand for water is expected to exceed by 40% in 10 years, more or less, by 2030. So this means if the water usage will go on like we have it now, and if no regaining of water will be made, or let's say water saving, this will be then the result. So the issue is, the issue is not that we don't have enough water. 70% of the planets are water, but the problem is that more or less 97% are unavailable for people, for humanity to use at the moment they need it, or are locked because of salined oceans and so on and so on. Or it's locked also in ice and all these kind of things. So at the very end, you have 3% left. Sorry, it was a misunderstanding. So 3% of the water can be really available, but 2/3 of this 3% is then locked up also and not always immediately available in ice or in too salty water. So actually the world is left with 1% of fresh water. So looking into that, it's also a huge topic for hotels and tourism-driven buildings. So we can say there are two risks. So one is a direct impact on the costing. Water is costly, so the less water there is around, the more costs you have. Studies say that water is about 10% of the running costs of a hotel. And then there are also impact risks, commercial risks. So if there is no more water, you cannot operate it anymore, or the pool cannot be operated, and this kind of things. So more and more, if hotels are approaching, they are using these two tools, risk analysis tools. There you can see, here is the adequate water risk atlas, which I've shown before, or this GEMI tool, which is also collecting data, so Global Environment Management Initiative. So, and with these two tools, you can analyze how the water situation in a specific country or region is. Especially this is interesting when doing international projects. And then there are water labels in place, which are giving an indication how water saving a project is. So for example, the water label on product level, European water label, is well known, giving a color indication about the water usage per minute. And then you have the three most well-known certificates for full buildings are BREEAM, LEED, and WELL. I will not, unfortunately, I don't have the time to go in detail about these certificates, but we are also working on making a separate training, a webinar on these certificates, because they are very often more and more requested, and are also like a trademark for a finished building. So for example, we did lately in Zambia a 4-star LEED certified building in close cooperation with the contractor. So it takes too long to speak about this, but these are the certificates normally very often used. Good. If you are interested more in this topic, please let us know, and then we will see if we can arrange something to this topic. So a specific training on these certifications. But how to save waters in the bathroom? So one thing you can is actually very, very important is the shower or the bathtub. So in the shower and the bathtub, actually, you have the highest water usage of all the bathroom products. So what you can do here is, I mean, for showers, for sure, you can use mixers or head showers, which are mixing water with air in order to reduce the water usage. Also for bathtubs, there are possibilities to reduce it. For example, you can use smaller bathtubs, or you can use bathtubs with less height or with a lower overflow. So in this way, these are all possibilities to reduce the water usage in the bathroom. Often the products are also marked with a water label. For toilets and urinals, there are actually two options for urinals. There is a 1 liter urinal normally. There are also 3 liter urinals and so on. And there are also 0 liter urinals. And for toilets, make sure that you have 4.5, 3 liter flushing toilets, because then you normally get the best water certification. For certain certificates like BREEAM, also 6 and 3 liters are okay. So this you have to check per individual certificate you want. We also more and more see the technology of vacuum toilets coming up. So this is like in the airplanes, where the, let's say, urine and so on is sucked in with very small water and with air. So this technology is more and more also available for big apartment buildings and so on. But I have seen it so far only in Europe. And then the last product, how to save water, but I think you are very much expert in that because I've never seen so much water efficiency in the world as in South Africa, are taps. So very often you have the special aerator that only a limited quantity goes on, or it's very much mixed with water. Beside of that, you have different cold start options in faucet, so meaning that the faucet lever is normally in the middle and you start with cold, so not like here where in the middle you have already half cold, half warm. You sometimes also have like a brake where you need to push more in order to have the full speed of water. The same also in kitchen mixes and upwards also in basing mixes if you operate them. Yes, so this is about, the first line here is about the temperature of the water, and here you have about the force or the amount of water which comes out. And then also another topic is sensor faucets, where you can then define how much water by hand detection is giving out from the sensor. Yes, and this is more or less actually the end of my presentation. So many thanks. I hope it was interesting and you have been able to take something with you. I tried to be more generic instead of just focusing on our offering, and within that I hope you have been able to catch certain things. I am always available on WhatsApp, LinkedIn also, and so on. You can connect with me if there are questions or needs, or otherwise we have the local team around Marius, who is very much experienced in following up projects in South Africa and answer your questions. So many thanks. I will be open for questions if there is anything, and otherwise even also fully okay.
Sebastian, thank you very much. Thank you for a very interesting presentation. I would definitely like to see in the second presentation how LAUFEN is addressing these issues with products. So I think in the second presentation we'll go that route so that we can demonstrate how LAUFEN, for instance, is addressing the water saving part of what you just discussed. But thank you for a very professional and very, very interesting presentation. It is highly appreciated. I would just like, if there are specific questions, you can ask the specific questions via email. It can go to Nicole, and Nicole will direct it to the commercial people to handle this on a personal basis. And then I'd like just to inform you that your CPD certificates will be sent to you within 5 to 7 days after this webinar. So Sebastian, thank you very much. Thanks for your time. It was really a very informative and a very well structured presentation.
Perfect. Yes, many thanks, and would be great to keep in touch. And also, we would like to give you something on your way. We would like to stay connected with you. So it would be great if you can maybe share your email address or your address, or we will just use the address from your login to give you some information, also more about our products then, because I can say our products are considering the challenges and the trends which we have described, and also to give you a small giveaway. Many thanks.
You talk about the giveaway. Yeah. I'm going to switch off my mic.
Hi everyone, just to touch base on the giveaway. Sorry. Okay, thanks. Sorry, just to give, Sebastian, thank you so much. That was really interesting. I've learned a few things myself. So just on the giveaway, LAUFEN has sponsored a little gift for us. What we'll be doing is we'll be doing a random selection based on the email addresses and names that we've received from the RSVP and the team's attendees list. But we'll run that over the next few days. We'll then contact the person and then also announce on this group chat of who the winner is. But Sebastian, you and I will be in contact, and then if anybody has any questions, you do all have my email address from the RSVPs. Yeah, and thank you guys. Very informative. And we'll see you guys in a month's time. I think, Sebastian, we are doing your next one in August. I don't know if you just want to touch base on that for anyone who's still on the chat group.
Yes, exactly. I also typed in my email address. Can you hear me? Yes, I also typed in my email address to the chat. We will do another one in August. It will be mainly about sustainability.
I can't actually hear you. Can you turn your speaker on or your mic?
Yeah, 1 second.
I can hear.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Is it good? Yes, we will run another webinar in August. It's mainly about sustainability. We will talk more about sustainable solution and how we are tackling this topic. We will have guest speakers on board. We have some very exciting project about sustainability going on, because this is a huge topic in the building industry, and very much looking forward. And yes, I hope we can stay in touch. We have the local team around Marius who is there. We have run a lot of projects together. Just contact him or contact me. We are not only present in South Africa, we are in more than 16 countries in Africa. So we also go to much, much more challenging places than in South Africa. So in this way, keep well and stay safe, and many thanks.
Thank you, Sebastian. We'll be in contact.
Perfect. Thanks. Bye-bye.